Today, boys and girls, we are going to make some deviled eggs. We're starting with eggs, which I have lots and lots and lots of eggs. And so we have a pot with lots and lots of eggs. And so we have some boiling water here, which we're going to pour into the pan with the eggs, and we're going to boil those for somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes. So I chose to go ahead and get the water hot since I had so many eggs in there, and that was a lot of time to get that to a boil. So we've covered our eggs, bam, back on the boiler. And turn that down to just a simmer. As these eggs are getting the boil on, I'm going to add a splash of vinegar to the water. And that's supposed to make them easier to peel. We'll find out what happens. So after 10 minutes of boiling, I tested one of the eggs, which is that one there, which is not quite done. And I took it over here. Got a sink full of ice water to shock the eggs, and it needed another 3 minutes. So I did 3 minutes, and this is what I've got with 3 minutes after turning the heat off. So 10 minutes of boiling, 3 minutes turn the heat off, and this is what I've got for my yolks. So some people like them a little bit more done than that, so I'm letting it sit for another minute, to actually about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to try the next one until I get to the perfect amount. So basically they're just sitting in the hot water, no heat on there, and continuing to cook a little bit. Okay, the eggs have been sitting in the water now for about 10 minutes, and I think that's going to be about the ideal amount of time. So about 10 minutes of boiling, about 10 minutes just sitting in the water, because I'm using a lot of eggs here. So after checking a few of them, I've determined that that's about the amount of doneness that I want. Some people keep going until they turn green. I just prefer to have a nicer thing, and I just happened to get the one with the yolk really close to the outside, so that was beautiful. I'm trying to show you what it looks like, but anyway, it was just paper thin there. So another reason to throw in a few extra eggs and you can eat the misfits. All right, so now we're gonna dump the entirety of this into the strainer, strain that out, and then splash it into the cold water. So the eggs have been gently dumped into the strainer. Strainer goes into the cold water, and away we go. Now we wait for these babies to cool down. I got too many in here, not enough water, so the idea here is to shock the egg to help the shell to release. So we're gonna find out if that actually works. All right, eggs nice and cool. So next we are going to perfect our peeling technique. All right, this next part is the whole reason that you watch this video, because you knew I was gonna do something awesome. So, got a few eggs in the container. Get some water in there. Not too much. And this is where the magic happens. Put the lid on. And shells are already starting to come off. So let's see where we're at. So shells just pretty much fall right off of there. Now some of them, this one obviously got broke up a little bit because you're just gonna have that, I guess. But to be able to do that many eggs in that little bit of time, I felt like that was at least worth the extra little effort for all these shells to just be falling off of here now. Bam, just slipped right off. All right, let's do some more. We are running out of eggs to experiment with here, but I got an idea. Take the big fat part of the egg, time for the magic. So we're making good progress here. And then we got a few that didn't turn out so good, but those make a good egg salad. All right, this technique is really getting rolling here. So put some cracks in there so we can get a hold of it. Then just peel it just back just enough to get into the membrane. Bam, throw it in the container. Get the lid on. Yeah, we had one explode in there. Let's see how they did. Oh yeah, comes off nice and easy. Something satisfying about a nicely peeled egg. Okay, the next thing I did was I divided the yolks into 2 separate bags since I got a bunch of eggs there to do. And I put a 1/2 cup mayonnaise in each bag with the yolks. And now I'm mixing it all together, mix, mix, mix. And I found it's a little easier to mix if you don't have a bunch of air in there. Now, if I was to do it over, I would probably mix up all the yolk part and then mix the mayonnaise in with it. Heck, I might even use a mixer, but I'm here, I'm committed, so it's happening. All right, next ingredient I added was a little dollop of Dijon mustard. Now, I'm not really measuring any of this stuff. I'm just putting it in there, and I'm gonna try some different things. Like, I got a little bit of olive oil, try that in there. And then this one I'm gonna mix, and I'm gonna try that with some barbecue sauce and see what that does. But life's an experiment, and if you don't try new things, then guess what? You're eating the same thing all the time. All right, so I've got my experimental bag. I've got my straight bag that I hadn't done anything with. I've got my mixing container to see if I've totally messed something up. And I tried all of these ingredients. Garlic powder, liquid smoke. This goes a really long ways. Red hot seasoning, ground sage, garlic powder. I even threw in some Montreal steak seasoning with one of my samples. Okay, all these fantastic flavors. Every single one of them is kind of unique. But there's very little change with any of this stuff from what the original flavor is. And so the one thing that did do it though, bam, buffalo dipping sauce. Something about that, adding that flavor to it, just phenomenal. I tried some Sweet Baby Ray's, mix that in there. I don't think people are gonna go for the brown color that it turns the mix into. They're used to the yellow, the bright yellow colors. I don't think they're ready for that. But what a person could do, if you want to try that flavor, put a little bit in the bottom and then add your normal mixed stuff on top of that. And I don't know what it is about that barbecue flavor, but it's just, I don't know, people barbecue chicken, so why not? we'll try it. All right, so I'm done playing with the different spices and stuff. I ended up putting some more of the buffalo sauce in there. Man, that stuff is just, it's addictive. And then I threw a little bit of Montreal steak seasoning in the bag as well, just for a little bit of crunch. And then I cut the corner of the bag off, so now I have a little cake spreader. So we're gonna try filling these and see what happens. So now the good part about having two different mixtures is I don't have to do all the mixtures in one shebang there. And because you're adding the mayonnaise and all that other stuff, you end up with more of the filling than what it's going to take to fill the eggs typically. So maybe not at your next potluck, but hey, try some of these at home and see what you come up with. And then these are the duck eggs. Those stinking things are just beautiful eggs. I don't know why I like them so much. So I'm gonna try them. Oh yeah, that's a new experience. Sprinkle a little paprika on there, bam. So I am gonna try some of them with a little dab of barbecue sauce at the bottom of it and just add the rest on there. See how those taste.